Hi, welcome to Saunders Sisterhood. I'm Carrie, and this is a YouTube channel for the single and childless not by choice person. Our video today is alternative self-talk ideas for feelings related to toxic stereotypes. So the first feeling that can come up that I believe is rooted in a toxic stereotype of people who are single and childless not by choice is feeling unwanted. According to Wells Fargo Economics, as of 2021, actually 52% of women are single. So you're not unwanted. You're going through a season of life that the majority of women go to. Again, the majority of women over age 18 have seasons of life where they are single. So no matter how old you are or what you're going through, there are other people like you out there, even though a lot of what we consume related to media and movies and our culture doesn't lead us to think that that's true. But the data says that it is. Again, being single doesn't mean that you're unwanted. In fact, it can mean a lot of different things, but it doesn't conclusively mean that nobody wants you or that you'll never be able to find a partner. And maybe our society places too much emphasis on the romantic partnership side of things, right? It reminds me of that Sex and the City quote where Charlotte talks about, maybe friends are our soulmates and, our partners are just people that come in through our life for different reasons and different seasons. So again, just because you don't have a romantic partner doesn't mean that you are unwanted and have good quality relationships in your life. Again, I know that this is kind of hard to sometimes feel in your gut and kind of feel in your heart. And that's why it's good just to have these reminders, because the toxic stereotypes around us can really get us to question these concepts. The second feeling that sometimes people have that I believe is rooted in toxic stereotypes related to being single and childless is that something is wrong with you. You're single. You don't have the plague. It can feel like you do, but you don't, right? People grow and change, and sometimes being single gives us an opportunity to learn more about ourselves and to develop into a bit more of a well-rounded person, where when we are in a relationship, we're living a parallel life with person versus living a really codependent, enmeshed life. We all know those people, right? And I think when two people come together to bridge together two separate lives, sometimes that can be a little more healthy than just forming a single life where you can't function outside of it without the other person. Having seasons of singleness can also help you to understand more of what you like to do, who you are authentically, and grow in confidence. It can also do a number on your confidence, but again, trying to remind yourself that, well, hey, I don't know that I want to be single my whole life, but here's how I'm going to take advantage of where I'm at. Again, I understand that this is difficult to kind of feel 100% of the time, but if you're feeling like crap 100% of the time related to these toxic stereotypes, if you can even increase looking at it from this perspective 5% of the time, that's at least 5% of relief that you don't currently have. Again, you can enhance who you are sometimes in these seasons. All right, the next feeling that sometimes people have related to toxic stereotypes or that are rooted in toxic stereotypes is feeling like you're single because you're not trying hard enough. Or if you really wanted it, you would go out and find it. I know for me personally, I think I imagine that the people around me think that more. And again, nobody knows your experience but you. And feeling like you're not trying hard enough, and that's why somebody's single, or they're not trying hard enough, and that's why somebody's single. Typically, this comes from people who've been partnered for a really long time, may have found somebody really young, and haven't really been in the depths and the waves of the dating pool. And so we all know those people that may feel like they have some experience dating because they dated in their early 20s. For me, that'd be, in the late 90s and early 2000s, when a lot of the stuff that's out there now wasn't even out there. So only you know your experience. And the last feeling or self-talk that sometimes can come up that I believe is rooted in a toxic stereotype is that you're single because you're a workaholic. I do think if you are spending all of your time in the workplace, that can impact who you're meeting and what you're doing for fun and your stress level and things like that. There's also lots of people who are partnered and they work a lot. I think this is something that really gets targeted toward women more than men as well. And sometimes some of us, maybe me, use work to help cope. So then it kind of becomes this vicious circle where maybe we're not 100% happy with all aspects of our life. And so we start working more in order to cope with that because we feel successful in that sphere. It doesn't mean that that's the reason that you're single. Again, there could be a million trillion reasons why somebody's single. And to try and distill it down to one thing that is self-blaming and berating isn't healthy. It's not reasonable, and it's not helpful, right? So, having said that, if you feel like work plays a role in your singleness, then just try and explore some other things that you can invest in outside of your career. Again, easier said than done if a lot of your feeling like you're achieving comes from that area. But again, this is where finding community, being around other women or other people like you can be helpful. So if you need suggestions related to communities that you can get involved in, consider Saunders Sisterhood. It's a low risk community to test out and get involved in where you can be around other people who are single and childless like you. So again, remind yourself that these are feelings that are really impacted by a lot of toxic stereotypes that we're fed through media, society, and even sometimes our supports who can't really relate to what we're experiencing. So let me know what you think and how you can use this concept to help you in the comments below. And remember, subscribe to Saunders Sisterhood for more information that is geared toward the single and childless, not by choice person.